Hello everyone, so welcome to my Monday forecast, and let's take a look at the euro and US dollar as usual. What I'm seeing right here, so I'm seeing it being very range bound. We are actually breaking the highs, retracing, so giving an ascending structure but not really showing me any momentum. And there was actually a trade opportunity at this point. So what I was seeing right here, I was seeing this descending structure. We're breaking the lows and retracing, breaking with wicks, which is a very good sign we will push to the upside. Then we got this nice impulse, and I was looking at this, but it was very late on a Friday, so it didn't fit my plan. At this point it was already 1 o'clock on Friday or 2 o'clock on Friday, and it just didn't fit my plan because after 12 o'clock I need to see a really high probability setup, which this wasn't. So then we did get an entry, so if someone took it, they would now be in, and maybe they would be able to lock in some profit. But as I said, it didn't fit my personal plan. So currently I'm seeing this ascending structure, as I said, but it's just not clean. It's a dirty ascending structure, more of a corrective ascending structure. What I would expect is more range bound price action, something like this. This is very common on the euro pairs. We can just range for a long time. Now what I would like to see is a nice ascending structure. So this clean ascending, push to downside, look for a flag or maybe a retest of the most recent low. I would also like to see a nice impulse to the upside, then a flag, or a nice impulse, pullback, another impulse, retest of the most recent high, and same thing to downside. So I would like to see a nice clean descending structure, push to the upside and look for a flag or a retest. So a nice push, then look for a flag to downside, a push, pullback, another push, look for a retest of the most recent low. So definitely something to keep an eye on, but to me this just isn't showing good price action and is not showing momentum to the upside or to downside, so I'm looking for a large impulse. Now let's switch over to the euro and the Japanese yen. So this one I am in a long trade actually, so let me take this back, replay. Okay, so at this point I was seeing this very range bound price action, and when I see this I'm not looking for a trade. I want to see a nice large impulse with large momentum. And right here at this point, so let me take it even further back, let me take it to this candle. So at this point I was seeing this large range. It was just not showing me any momentum either to the downside or to the upside. But then we started impulsing to the upside. So we got one nice candle, second candle, and this third candle. To me, I classified this as a large impulse, and at this point it did start to fit my plan, so I was looking to get in on a flag. So what is a flag? It's just a continuation pattern. First low, first high, second low, and then look for a bullish candle. And we actually did get a flag. And what I really liked also about this impulse is the clean close. So we didn't have a large wick on the top, which is a really good sign. And then, so we got the first low, first high, second low. This was the first bullish candle, so at this point I entered. And now for some trades, I tend to stay out if the entry point is very close to the most recent high, because I then can't reduce my risk if we break the high. But this is a small bomb for me, so I classify this as a small tight bomb, and when I see this small bomb, then the entry candle doesn't matter to me. So in this case, this entry candle didn't matter, as I said, the bomb was small. Then we broke the high, so I managed to... No, I didn't manage to reduce my risk at this point. Just a second. So let me... Okay. So at this point, then we broke the high, retraced, broke the high, and then I managed to reduce my risk a bit. So first I had a 12 pip stop, and now I reduced my risk to, well, about 4 pips or something like that. And I think I'm tagged out now currently, so this is now a loss, but a reduced loss, so I have to check on my broker, but I think I'm tagged out. So actually this was a 0.4% loss, but it was a very good trade for me. It fit my plan. And also some people may be wondering, like, what about these liquidity areas above this range, so right here and right here, because we did get also this range, so we know that people keep stops right here. Well, that didn't really concern me, because if you look at the larger picture, I would say the liquidity areas are right here, the ones that matter to me personally. So there was actually some space to reach the upper liquidity area, so I was willing also to enter the trade. And yeah, it was a large impulse in a range bound market, so it fit my plan. The bomb was really small and tight, so really clean bomb, no wick on top of the impulse. So this one fit my plan 100%, and I would definitely take it again. But as I'm seeing, it is actually a 0.4% loss, but that's part of the game. So currently what I can expect, well, I'm seeing this range bound price action still, so I would expect more ranges, especially since we now broke the high retrace, broke the high retrace, broke the high retrace, all with a huge wick. So I'd expect actually something like this for the price to continue to range in this area. So let me draw it again, like this. And what I would like to see, I would like to see a nice large impulse to the upside. Look for a flag, or impulse pullback, another impulse break and retest. Definitely would be a good trade. Or an ascending into the liquidity area, push to the downside, look for a flag, for example, because I'm seeing this liquidity area right here, this box. You see huge wicks on top. That means that there is a lot of liquidity and people are keeping their stops right here. So if we ascend into it, it means that the market makers are taking out people's stops. And if we get a large impulse to the downside, I would look for a flag, because I know it's very high probability that we will move to the downside, as the stops have now been taken out and the liquidity area has been, let's say, cleaned up. They took the money, they took the stops, and are ready to make a move. Also, I would look for a large impulse, so a large impulse to the downside, then a flag, or a large impulse, pull back, another impulse, look for a break and a retest. Or same thing can happen to the downside, we can get a descending into the liquidity area. I would then look for an impulse to the upside and the flag, or maybe a retest of the most recent high, so a bullet trade. Let me show you the liquidity area again. So right here, you see this huge wick, huge wick, huge wick, huge wick, huge wick. So people are definitely keeping their stops in this area. Very interesting to see it, and very important to see it. So yeah, that is it for EJ. And now let's switch over to the Aussie pairs. And the Aussie pairs are really looking good. I really like this price action. So we did get this impulse to the downside, but at the end we broke the low retraced, signaling the end of the impulse. Then we had push to the upside, then we had a range, continue to the upside, small pullback, and then we push to the upside again. So currently this is trending to the upside for me. So the Aussie and the US dollar is trending to the upside, and I'm definitely looking for an entry, because I know that the Aussie likes to trend correctively, and this looks very, very good in my personal opinion. If we do get a flag, I would definitely be looking at it. Maybe we get something like this. So this would be the first low, first high, second low, and then look for a first bullish candle to enter. Maybe we do get a descending to the bullet entry point, something like this. I would definitely also consider that, since I classify this as trending now. Or we can just create an ascending from here, look for an impulse to the downside and a flag. Or we can continue to the upside, look for a retest of the most recent high, this would be very, very high probability. And I would really like to see that, because it tends to work out most of the time. We can get a push, pull back another push, look for a break and a retest. So same thing that I just forecasted, but more further up. Or a push and the flag. So trending market, and this would be very, very high probability. Also, we can get a V reversal at this point. Then I would stay out, because this is just then signaling volatility. So to me, if we do get a V reversal, then I would look for a range, push to a downside, and look for, let's say, a flag. This is a common pattern. So we get a V, range, second leg continuation, this is that second leg, and then look for a flag. Also, what can happen, we can get a large push to the downside, look for a flag, large push, pull back another push, break and retest of the most recent low, also definitely a possibility. Or we can correctively break the low, we can get a descending, push to the upside, look for a flag or a retest of the most recent high, so that would be a bullet trade, but just look for some sort of a continuation entry. But yeah, that is it what I can forecast on the Aussie and US dollar. Currently trending to the upside. I'm seeing this push, small pullback, no momentum shift, continuation, large impulse now, this, let's say, big wick at the top, but definitely looking like strength to me, and I'm looking for an entry. So now let's take a look at the last pair. It is Aussie and the Japanese yen, and this one is really looking also very, very good. I really like this. This one is even better than the Aussie and the US dollar, because I'm seeing this larger descending. So I'm seeing this, and I'm also seeing a smaller descending right here. When I see this, when I see a smaller descending in a larger descending, it is very, very high probability we will move to the upside, because the market makers are taking out people's stops and retracing, taking out people's stops and retracing. So this pattern is very, very high probability to move to the upside. And as you can see, we are actually getting some really nice and large momentum to the upside. Right here on this impulse, look at these three candles, very clean, no wick on top, real momentum. Small pullback, no momentum shift in the pullback, signaling that the move to the upside will continue. And then we got these four large candles that are really showing us some nice momentum. And then we got these big wicks on the top. So this is a small warning sign to me, but looking at the overall price action, this is a very, very high probability. So I'm definitely looking to get on a flag entry like this, or maybe we get something like this, so it would be a combo entry or a break and a retest entry. But what I don't want to see, I don't really want to see a V reversal, so I don't want to see straight momentum to the downside like this, because to me then that would just signal volatility. And if we do get this V, so if we do get a V, I would look for a range, and I would look for an impulse to the downside, then an entry pattern, so a flag or a break and a retest, something like that. Also, what can happen, we can create something like this, so break and retest entry to the upside, very, very high probability, and I'm in this 100%. We can get a flag, we can get a push, then a flag, also in it 100%. We can get a push, pull back another push, break and retest in this 100%, because we are trending. And when we are trending, I want to be aggressive, a little bit more aggressive, and I want to be in the trades, because I know that the overall trend is to the upside and that it is very likely that we will continue. But we have no expectations. We can get an ascending structure, push to downside, look for a flag short, so also a possibility, and also I need to forecast that scenario because it is very possible. Or we can get a descending, breaks the low correctively, look for an impulse to the upside and a flag. Also we can get a large push to downside, look for a flag. Or maybe we get a push A pullback, another push, break and retest of this area, so a bullet short trade. Definitely a good setup, so something to look out for. But to me this pair, as I said, is just looking really clean and really good. I'm seeing, as I said, a larger descending, then I'm seeing a smaller descending, I'm seeing a large momentum to the upside, small pullback, and a continuation of that momentum. So out of all the 4 pairs, this one is really looking nice. So I really like it. Yeah, that's it for the forecast. Looking for some entries on the Aussie pairs. I got stopped out on EJ, but that is the game. So I will see you in the next one.